What's up, everyone? Shaq here for EDM.com, and we are joined today by Delta Heavy's Ben Hall in the aftermath of Midnight Forever, the new album, ahead of the biggest global tour of their career. Ben, how's it going, my man?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Thank you for doing this. Now, it's such a good. It's so funny because when we talk about drum and bass, like it's a scene, especially over in the UK and Europe, that's been thriving for a really long time. But for us North Americans, like I've been, in the dance music space for like 5 years. The first like full drum and bass set I ever saw was Delta Heavy Shambhala 2022. So
Oh wow,
yeah, yeah,
that
and
was a good, that was a real good one.
there were some core memories unlocked that evening. Some friends who were just dancing like absolute lunatics. It's honestly one of my favorite Shambhala memories. So thank you for your contributions to it.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's a pretty special festival.
Yeah, it's one of it's like a world unto its own. Now we could talk about that forever, but really, it feels like drum and bass is just taking over North America. I mean, you guys are lining up for a global tour, which includes a solid North American stint. What's it been like for you guys, 15 years into your career to see D&B take off in Canada and the US the way it has been?
I mean, it's obviously a very exciting time, I think, to be a drum and bass producer in general. In terms of North America, I mean, we've been touring here for like, yeah, 10 years now, and I think it's more of the mainstream crowds picking up on drum and bass more, where I think in the past it felt a bit more of a niche a niche genre. But it's certainly in the last 18 months or so, it feels like a wider audience is listening to it, and just kind of getting used to the the rhythmic identity of the music. I think the main difference I think a lot of people have found in the past, when you hear drum and bass at a big festival, people didn't really know what to do. Because I just think in terms of the BPM, say something like even dubstep and trap, tempo wise, there's a lot of synergy with like a lot of rap music. So drum and bass at 174, 175, 172 beats per minute is completely unique in electronic music, and I think people are quite confused in the US initially. Like, how do I dance this? What do I do? Like, you can't really headbang at that tempo. Um, but it is honestly one of the funnest, most energetic musics to dance to, I think, and that's kind of people are getting that here finally.
As a chronically bad dancer, can I please get Ben's like secret to doing a good D&B dance?
Oh, I don't. I'm a DJ. I don't dance. I kind of bop around when I'm DJing. But yeah, I'm the person just kind of standing in the back, nodding seriously at a show, or hiding in the green room. Yeah,
Um,
no dance
I
moves from me.
do you think Simon can do any better on the dance floor?
Absolutely not. No,
I wish we
maybe
were in
drunk at a
person.
wedding.
We'll have to get him to defend himself next time. Let's jump to that. I think when I was sort of preparing for this interview, and I saw the guys, like the way, even just in your press release, the way you guys spoke about Midnight Forever and sort of it being your love letter to electronic dance music, to D&B, to the spirit of dance music that kind of captured you guys when you were first getting into the rave scene. What is it about dance music you think is such a cathartic escape for people?
I mean, it's a good question. It's quite a wide question. I think um, you know linking to the loose thoughts we had behind the album title, and you know we like to create a little kind of loose concept or like umbrella to write music to, especially with a wider body of work. Um, it just kind of helps us get in like a certain headspace. And maybe, sometimes we get a bit off track with certain experimental ideas. And kind of, I think we came up with the title for the album quite early, and that allowed us to really dial into a certain sound and mood, I guess, when we were writing the music. I think obviously, it's just, in the simplest form, it's um nightlife, going out, clubbing, raving, going to a festival. It is the most perfect way to escape from, it's a bit of a cliche, but day to day life. Um, you know,
Do you remember like your earliest memory of really falling into D&B?
yes, I do. I was 15 and a bunch of my friends I went to this quite um old posh boarding school in the UK, and a bunch of us went to a very small club in the center of London called Bar Rumba. It's not around anymore; has been around for years. It's on Shaftesbury Avenue, right in the central center of London, in the West End, in kind of the theatre district. It was a tiny little club, maybe only 250 capacity. Down some steps, the sweaty little basement, and we saw Brian G, Shy Effect, and it was DJ Marky's first ever show in the UK. And I think I was 15. We were all there on some like really, we got in with these like really ropey fake IDs. And the bouncer kept grabbing us out of the crowd and like peeling open the IDs. Somehow mine passed the test. I don't know how. We all looked really young. There's no way we looked 18. But so previously I'd got into electronic music through kind of trance and progressive house and new school breakbeat, which was really popular in the UK at that time. And I had already owned a set of Technics 1210s, and been buying vinyl and DJing for 2 or 3 years. And but then we went to this night, and just the energy and the rawness, it blew me away, and I never really looked back after that.
One of the things that I sort of really early on identified as something I liked about dance music, especially the festival scenes, was the production. Like as a theater kid, I love how the music and the lighting and the effects and the visuals all tie in together. And I know that there's a new visual experience that accompanies this Midnight Forever tour. Can you talk a little bit about what the presentation is going to look like on tour?
Yeah. So I guess the album, I mean, just going back to that experience, when we first started going out, it wasn't really a visual experience. It was very much dark, sweaty, smoky, underground. And we wanted to capture a little bit of that feel and vibe in the album, while also, you know, creating a little visual world. So we, part of the content, I guess, and to provide the artwork, we like hired a warehouse in East London, which was the end of 2023. Hired a warehouse, worked with some really great creatives, um, and basically shot this masked dancer, um, amazing dancer, young lady called Cabrea, and we put her in this kind of jeweled mask because we came up with this loose idea that we wanted someone just moving to the music that was, I mean, not, you couldn't really, it was like not a man, not a woman, just this human form, as almost like to embody the spirit of the music without being too literal. So that was the loose idea. We kind of went into it with some mood boards and some ideas, but weren't really sure how it was going to turn out. And then we ended up being part of it, and we had a lot of lasers, smoke machines, lots of different lights, moving heads, moving cameras, and so we filmed a lot of that, and that ended up being the artwork for the album. We had some like high spotlights, so which almost created like a moonlight effect. And so we have, terabytes of this content. So we've formed that into show visuals, and then we've also time coded a lot of that with the music and
Nice.
some of the tracks with the big identifiable lyrics. So that's all time coded. So it's all in sync. So without giving too much away, that's the basic
I
idea.
like it. Well, I know you guys are
Um,
making a stop in Vancouver, so I look forward to checking it out in person.
yes, we
Um,
are. We are biggest Vancouver show to date.
Now we got to talk about Schaumburg more at some point too. But as we wrap up here, I do want to run you through some rapid fire. Just kind of pick your brain a little bit outside of the norm. Okay. So first, and hey, who knows? This
Yeah.
might tie in. What's the most bizarre venue performance experience you've ever had?
Oh, oh gosh. Put me on the spot with that first question. Most bizarre performance. I'm kind of stumped. Um, I don't really know, but to kind of flip this, one kind of notorious incident. I was playing Electric Youth Festival, I think in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on a rotating stage, and I was playing a very early set. I think it was 1 in the afternoon, maybe opening the stage. I'd just flown up from Miami. I had a show there the night before without much sleep, and there was a circular stage, and it actually rotated. But I started my set without knowing it was going to rotate. So I was a bit like lacking sleep, lacking like a good meal that morning, and the stage started rotating, and I was like, "What on earth is going on?" And I looked up, saw a different part of the tent, was so confused. I put my leg down, put my foot off the stage, fell off the
No.
stage, put my hand up to stop to like grab something, stopped the music, and just ended up in a pile on the floor. So that's one thing. That's
That was an
maybe
incredible
not
story.
a
Thank you.
bizarre event, but that's certainly my most chaotic thing that happened
That's
to me
you,
once.
were you relatively unharmed?
I was my pride was harmed.
Okay. Well,
Physically, I was fine.
okay, well, I'm glad you're
Um,
physically well. I hope the pride is
I
recovered.
just kind of clambered up and got on the mic. I was like, "I'm fine," and everyone was like, "Okay, what happened?"
It's bound to happen, especially with moving pieces. Hey, so you mentioned the lack of sleep. I That just sort of reminded me when I came to your New Year's Eve show in Vancouver, and I remember looking at your touring schedule, and you were performing in Australia or something the same day. Um,
Well, that was Simon.
Simon, yeah. So and that's when I
Yeah.
remembered. Oh yes, people, duos split up the duties sometimes. What is the craziest like turnaround you've had between two performances?
Um, so actually, earlier this year, I did a show in Melbourne, Australia, and then flew to Auckland, New Zealand, and played that same night, which is only possible with a time difference. And I basically had to finish the set, get in the transfer, get to the airport, hope the flight wasn't delayed, get off the plane, get straight in a car, and turn up. And I had 2 minutes to spare.
Whoa.
And I've never heard of people doing an Australia New Zealand show because it's actually a 3.5 hour flight
Yeah.
between the two. So, there's plenty of people who drive between two shows in one night, but I've never heard of anyone, maybe without the aid of their own private jet, doing it on like commercial airlines. So that was the most hectic double up I've done. Two countries which are 2,000 nautical miles apart. So yeah, quite impressed I pulled that one off.
Now, for this next one, you have the benefit of Simon's absence. Who do you think's the bigger grouch on tour, you or him?
Um, him.
It would be me if I toured. So
Uh Maybe in the early years it was me because I was probably hungover more. Recently, he's a dad. He has two lovely daughters,
mm,
and yeah, I think he probably gets a bit less sleep at home than I do. So yeah, I tend to do a bit more of the long haul stuff. So yeah, maybe I'm a bit more used to the flights and stuff. So I'd say these days slightly him, but I don't
so
know.
Well, we can give him
My
his.
moods go up and down, so we definitely say me.
Yeah, I said I'll make sure to get his take next time. Well, let's give him his flowers a little bit. Second last one. If you could adopt like one musical skill or quality from Simon to absorb into yourself, what would it be?
Well, I mean, we have very different skill sets when it comes to production. I think that's why we work so well together. Simon, um, he plays the bass and the guitar. He works a lot more closely with the singers, and I'm more on the kind of sound design, engineering side, mixing, mastering. So our skill sets very much help each other, I guess. So Simon is very good at, say uh, I could play like a house track. I'm like, oh, this is sick. Well, let's take some inspiration from this. He will kind of very quickly like pick up the chord progression or like the melodic riff and then quickly translate it into a quick D&VI like sketch, which I really struggle to do without like plodding around on the, you know, for hours moving MIDI notes about. So yeah, I'd say his ability to do that really
Yeah.
gets things going quickly.
I'm always amazed by that as someone who has absolutely like no fundamental understanding of like the language of music. It always blows my mind like when my wife can just hear a chord and tell me what note it is. I don't even know how I listen to music. I don't know anything about it, but I like it. It makes me feel good. Last
I mean,
one,
I
I'll
think
let you.
people interpret music in
Yeah.
totally different ways. There's no right or wrong answer.
Appreciate that. Now, last one before I let you go. For someone who has maybe stumbled into Delta Heavy late, ahead of all the success in the big global tour coming up, give me three songs throughout the entire discography that kind of would be like a short list of the Delta Heavy experience.
I'll narrow down to three.
You can do five, whatever helps you, man.
Okay, five. We'll do five.
Okay.
Go with Space Time, which was our debut track on Ram Records back in 2010. Um, and that kind of um, gave us a lot of exposure into the drum and bass scene. And yeah, that felt like a pivotal moment. Second track would be maybe I'll throw in another genre track in there, Get By, which was 2012, which was a dubstep track, which we had some like UK garage influences in, and the music video to that went pretty viral.
Yeah.
And at the time, that enabled us to start touring a lot in America when we were doing some other genres as well as drum and bass. So that felt like a quite important moment. Then third track would say White Flag,
Mm-hmm.
which we made in 2016 and was one of the singles of our first album. Still one of our most successful and well-known tracks to date. We obviously play it every set still. Um, Always seems to be one of everyone's favorites. Um, then let's say Lift You Up, which was from our second album. Collab with Zed's Dead, who obviously a gigantic force especially over here in bass music. And I think collabing with them, but we made, quite a traditional, big energetic drum and bass track, which potentially a lot of their fan base in North America maybe wouldn't expect. And I think, they play a lot of drum and bass. There's a lot of drum and bass artists now playing the deadbeat shows. I think that was quite a big moment for D&B, kind of uniting the two worlds. And then fifth track, let's say Ecstasy from Midnight Forever.
Nice.
Second
I
single.
like the way you top and tailed that bit of everything throughout the career. I would say
Yeah,
waste that
yeah.
homework, Simon. Thank you. Um,
Thanks.
Ben, I want to leave you with the last words. Very quickly for me, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Subscribe, tap the bell, thumbs up, full written feature over at edm.com with Ben Hall, of course, Simon James as well, Delta Heavy. If there's anything you want to tell the people, whether it's Midnight Forever, the upcoming tour, anything on your mind, man, the floor is yours.
Well, obviously, go stream our new album, Midnight Forever. I think it's definitely our favorite body of work and the album we're most proud of. And if you're into drum and bass, there is literally something for everyone. So many different styles and flavors of D&B on there. So go stream that. And we're touring the album worldwide, Europe, this side of the year, this side of the new year, Europe mostly, and North America. Doing our biggest tour of North America to date. Part one is in November and December. All the info is on our website, Instagram, etc., etc. So we would love to see you all there. It's going to be very fun.